Marchele, and today I'd like to discuss with you some interviewing techniques that will help you find the right person for your business. Throughout my management career, I've had to perform several interviews. I always thought interviewing would be pretty much cut and dry and fairly easy. That was until I became the manager of my own business. Then I discovered there are specific challenges to the interview process. That's when I discovered that you have to find the appropriate question to ask in order to gather information from this individual, in order to assess whether or not this individual will fit in. Well, through studies in this class and various research, I believe I've found some tried and true methods that you could use to determine whether or not an individual will fit in with the culture of your business. So, the culture of your business, that seems to be the key here. If you want to find out whether or not an individual will fit in, first you have to determine what is the culture of your business. The culture of your business is going to be those behaviors, those rituals, those communications that you use with your coworkers and the communications that you use in the business world. It's what some would say, this is the norm around here, or this is how we conduct business here. That is the culture of your business. It's the way you do things. It's the way you operate. And before you can determine whether or not an individual is going to fit in, you have to determine whether you know the culture of your business. You have to determine the culture of your business. I've also discovered a few things throughout my management career, and that is that there are some questions that need to be asked during the interview process. There are those, what we call typical interview questions. You know the ones. What school did you go to? And what are your qualifications? Who is your previous employer? And can we contact your previous employer? And my favorite question, if we contact your previous employer, what will they say about you? I always found that question pretty amusing because I don't believe anyone will ever tell you that they're going to say I'm a horrible employee. I don't think so. So, the truth is, these questions are great questions. They're very important questions because they assess the qualifications, the skills of an individual. And those are very important because you want to make sure that your interviewee or your new hire is qualified. You want to make sure that they're qualified for the job. So those questions are very important. However, those questions do not determine the essence of an individual. Those questions aren't deep enough to tell you about an individual's character. I have an example that I can give you. There were a few times that I actually interviewed a couple people, thought they were great, qualified for the job. Actually, one was overqualified for the job. So, of course, had to hire them, right? Well, hired these individuals, only later to discover that they weren't a right fit for my business. They just did not quite fit in with the culture of my business. There were personality conflicts on the job, and there was also one instance where an individual came in and decided right off the bat, I'm going to change things around here. That never goes over well with your coworkers. This made me question my judgment, and I wondered, how did I let this slip by me? Well, the truth is, I was not asking the right questions. I was still asking the typical questions, but not the right questions. So, I think I needed to dig deeper, and that's what I want to share with you today, digging deeper. You want to make sure that you move beyond the typical interview question into a more open-ended question. Let me give you some examples. Questions that you should ask are, how do you describe a specific work problem, or how do you describe problems on the job? What do you think a problem is that you've had in the past, and how did you work to resolve this issue? You can ask them questions like, what are your personal goals? And what are your hobbies? What are your work habits? Another important question that you should ask: what factors in a work situation will provide motivation for you? Or what motivates you? These questions are very important questions. They're more open-ended questions. They get your interviewee to talk, and that's what we want. We want your interview to communicate. We want your interviewee to talk. The more they talk, the more you get to discover the essence of the individual. You want to ask questions that define the qualities, the talents, the mindset of the individual. You want to determine whether or not this individual, when talking to them, will their personality fit in with the culture and the climate in your workplace? That's why it's so important to have the appropriate question. That's why it's so important to first determine the culture of your business and then align your questions with the culture of your business. One thing that you can do after assessing the culture and the climate of your business, make yourself a list. Make sure that the questions that you're asking are geared specifically for the climate of your business. Make sure that the questions that you're asking are going to lead the interviewee into a casual conversation with you. Once you assess the individual, their personality, then you'll be able to determine whether or not this individual is going to fit in with your business. In closing, I would just like to say that my management career has been very fulfilling for me. I've hired some people that didn't quite work out, but overall, after researching and assessing my interviewing skills, or reassessing my interviewing skills, I was able to determine that I needed to just dig in deeper and ask the appropriate questions. And once I came to that mindset, I was able to find the appropriate individuals and the right hires, new hires for my business. I hope this has helped you. Thank you.